What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'll be taking a look at Corsair's massive full tower ATX case, the Corsair 7000X RGB smart case. Let's hop right into it. Now just a quick disclaimer before we get started, this case has seen a lot of use in its life. It's about 3 years old and has signs of wear, so if you see any wear in the video, that's why. Don't be alarmed, the case still performs and does its duties as normal. It's just used. I couldn't afford to get a new one, so I'll just have to work with what I have. Coming in at $339.99, this case is very expensive for my liking. The case looks amazing though. Having 3 4mm thick smoke tempered glass panels, 1 solid steel removable panel, and having 4 built-in dust filters, this case has its covering situation thought out. You're able to show off your system very easily with these panels. It also has some really pretty plastic sides up front, and the solid steel feet with rubber padding, so it doesn't scratch anything that it's on. The case is 600mm tall, 550mm long, and 248mm wide. It also weighs about 19.8 kilograms, so you might want to check if you have space in your setup for this. The case offers a power and reset button, 4 USB 3.0 ports, 1 USB 3.1 Type-C port, and an HD audio port for your headset. All easily accessible, and there's also space on both sides of the buttons for case badge stickers. The front tempered glass panel is removable and has a very high performance dust filter behind it. I find this as an issue, but I'll get back to it in a few. The case also has 4 built-in SP 140mm RGB Elite PWM fans, 3 up front and 1 on the rear. I also find these as an issue, but more on that in a few. Now the tempered glass on the right side of the case is on some hinges, so you're able to very easily open and close it without any custom way to do it. And if you remove a screw on the hinges, you're able to remove the panel. The top tempered glass is removable and has a mid-performance dust filter behind it. I call it mid because dust still gets through, in numbers. It's not as good as the one up front. Now there is a ton of space for cooling and general use in this case. I mean like a ton of space. You're able to mount 3 140mm fans up front, up top, and 1 140mm fan on the rear. You're also able to mount up to 4 120mm fans up front, 4 120mm fans on the left side fan tray, 3 120mm fans up top, and 1 120mm fan on the rear. You're also able to have up to 480mm radiators on the front or side tray, and a 420mm radiator on the top fan tray, and up to 140mm radiator on the rear. And on top of that, every fan tray in this case is removable, so it makes things really easy for building. You're also able to mount as large as extended ATX motherboards or as little as mini ITX motherboards in this case. There's also pre-installed standoffs for your motherboard. The max GPU length you can have in this case is about 450mm, and the max CPU cooler height you can have is around 190mm. The max power supply length for this case is 225mm, and it has 8 expansion slots with 3 vertical GPU expansion slots, all easily removable by taking out a thumb screw. Now this case has many things that you can use to make your build as custom as possible. With the use of a riser cable, you can add standoffs to either of the vertical GPU mounting holes and have your video card vertically mounted. There are 2 ways to do this. You can either mount your GPU, up to 3 slot, closer to your tempered glass, or if you remove these 2 screws on the rear of your case and remove this PCIe slot cover, you can mount your GPU closer to your motherboard for better cooling using the included bracket. Now behind the left side solid steel panel, we can see the left side fan tray with a door next to it. I never really figured out why the second door was here, but I'm assuming it's some kind of beauty cover if you wanted to buy a tempered glass panel for the left side. Both panels are on hinges and can be removed, and like I said earlier, the fan tray is able to hold up to 4 120mm fans or a 480mm radiator. Opening up the second door, we can see Corsair's rapid cable routing system. I've been using this for a while and they're very good for cable management. The left side also contains Corsair's built-in Commander Core XT, a digital RGB and PWM fan controller, and 6-port PWM fan repeater. More on those later. The case also has 3 2.5-inch drive caddies that are removable, and 2 3.5-inch drive cases, 3 caddies each, so you're able to have up to 6 3.5-inch drives if you really needed it. You can also mount the 3 2.5-inch caddies on top of the power supply cage to show off the drives that you have. The power supply chamber has a built-in power supply window cutout, with a swappable plastic cover too, so you can put like a screen here or something that lights up. There's also 4 rubber anti-vibration pads so your power supply doesn't vibrate more than it needs to. Every drive cage and caddy is removable using some screws. There's also a swappable cover on the front of the power supply cage too. You can have this one or that one, whichever makes you happy. But in order to use the second 3.5-inch hard drive cage, you'll have to use this cover. Now you guys have probably already noticed, but there are two solid steel beauty covers on the inside of the case. These are here to hide the cables being routed to the right side of the motherboard. They are removable by unscrewing a couple of screws, and they also have grommets for these cables as well. Now while I build in this case, I'd like to talk about a few discrepancies that I have with this case. First of all, there is too much empty space in this case, like way too much. A great example would be the power supply cage. You'll see all the cables under there. And on top of that, for your front panel cables, or USB cables, or basically anything that you'll have routed under your motherboard, there are no grommets there. There are also no grommets where your 8-pin CPU power cable would come out either. And there's many places where you could route your cables, yeah, but there's too many places. Like, let me show you. If you're trying to make your build look super clean, good luck with that. Another has to be the fans that they included. These fans really suck, for airflow at least. Even the big ones. Because of the nature of the fan blades, these air guide vanes don't really do much for moving air compared to the ML RGB Elite fans or literally any other fans that they could have included. These fans don't reach that high of a max speed either. They're loud and their performance is worsened due to the solid glass front panel and the dust filter behind it. You're better off buying the 7000D variant of this case and buying better fans separately. And that's with 3 years of experience with these fans. The Commander Core XT and PWM repeater are very useful when it comes to fan connections. The way the repeater works is basically a hub. You connect the fans to the repeater and you can have them run at max speed, or you could connect the PWM cable coming from the repeater to your motherboard or the Commander Core XT to control the fans. The Commander Core XT acts as an RGB and PWM hub. You can technically have 13 fans plugged in if you have the repeater alongside the Commander Core XT, or just 6 if you use the Commander Core XT alone. The Commander Core XT comes with a 3-pin RGB expansion port as well as 2 temperature sensor ports, so you could have the air coming in or air coming out temperature recorded with this. I really like the fact that this was included with the case. And of course, all is very easily controlled through iCUE. And on top of that, the panels are swappable. You can have the top or front panels be solid steel, airflow, or solid glass. All very nice. The case is really nice and gorgeous. The fans, although they don't perform well, look great where they are. Overall, this case is really nice and fancy in my opinion. I like the many features and additions for the price, but you're definitely overpaying for the price. There are some better full tower alternatives from Height, Cooler Master, Mustex, and so on. So I'll give this case a 7 out of 10 on my case meter. Well guys, that'll have to do it for this video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about this case. Everything in my YouTube channel is viewer voted and suggested. I also don't accept sponsorships and everything is paid out of pocket. So your support is greatly appreciated. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I look forward to the next video.